you not you not only mention the character in the general meaning, but you explain the character that what is the character, what is the definition of the character that you are going to analyze in your research, and also for the characterizations and also the novel, such as novel, you only explain about what is novel Harry Potter, not only novel, but what is novel Harry Potter gitu. Yang ada intinya tuh di terminologi ini you mention about the definitions of the subject on your research, not in general definitions. That's all the suggestion from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ratu, yeah, for your questions and suggestion. Clemencia, can you send your proposal once again in PDF file, because I cannot open your,
all right.
the file is broken. All right, so now we continue to have the second discussion. Yeah, I would like to invite the second discussion. Ardia Sapitri, please have your time.
Thank you very much, sir. So I would like to ask, there are two questions I want to ask Tarisa, Ramadhania, Hakim. So the first one is, why did you choose this book as your research? I mean, like from J.K. Rowling itself, there's many interesting novel, right? So, and then for the second questions is, how do you collect your data, like by using indirect and direct characterizations, right? I mean, can you explain it more? Okay, thank you. That's all my questions.
I'm sorry, what's the second question?
How do you collect your data, like you are using indirect and direct, right? Direct and indirect characterizations.
All right.
Approach. Can you explain it? Your method, I mean.
All right. Thank you, Adea, for asking. So the first question, why I choose this book, the third book, as the object of my research, because I think there's in the third book, yeah, rather than the first book, there's a lot the things. I mean, the characterization that I can collect from the third book, the how her traits, I mean, Hermione Granger traits that I can found in the third book. So I think that the third book provide a lot of I mean evidence that I can use as that I can put in my research, like, yeah, example of her character, like she smart, that it already in that book rather than the first, because when I read the first and the second, it's only the the introduction of her character. So I think the third book is the perfect to start to know her characters. So that's the first answer. And then for the second question, how I'm sorry, what? How I collect with using direct in or indirect characterization, right? Yeah, how I collect.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So like the first, it's actually I'm going to read the book, and then when I found the sentence or the phrases and the dialogues that relates to her, I will select it. I will collect those things, and then I will put those to the table. I'm using the table. I will put that on the table, and then I will analyze based on that evidence that I have collected, and then I include what's the characterization of her that appear based on the evidence. So That's the method I use.
Okay, thank you very much for answering the questions. So for my suggestions is only, I think in my opinion, in a literature review, you need to include your elements of the novel. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ardia.
Okay, you done, Ardia?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, now we continue to discuss your proposal. Right. So now the title of the paper or the proposal is analyzing one character here. It's called Hermione. Yeah, Granger. So why? What do you mean by that? I mean, why you decide to only focus on one character?
So I think that I found her character is most like the student. I mean, I want to just focus on one character to more focus to describe what her characteristic and to let the readers know that's it, her character is of her. So
Yeah, I mean, why? Why you focus on Granger? Yeah, Miss Granger. There are many characters, of course, in Harry Potter's prominent characters, but you choose only one out of them. Perhaps you have specification on that one.
yes, sir. I feel personally I will relate to some her characteristics, so I choose that the reason why I choose her. I mean, Hermione Granger.
Yeah, I mean, why? Why you
If,
don't choose other character, for example, and you only choose that one?
actually, because that her character is when I in the high school, like I saw the her characterism in some student, and then like the smart student, it like the same. The reason I can connect them. I feel I know like they are related. So I think that's why I choose that, sir.
What do you want to prove by reading this or her character?
Oh yes, I want the readers to learn what that we can follow from her character. I mean, she is smart and like she is know nothing about this. I mean the magic, but she are um dirajin, and then she keep improving herself to become the better one. So I want the readers know that and follow her.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you have to highlight, yeah, the Hermione, how do you know? Hermione Granger, yeah. I mean, you have to highlight her specification, her interesting character that you really want to raise in this analysis. Yeah. In your background, you should perhaps there is something like that. If you want what's that, to raise the student a character, for example, if you want to be the student, so you want to compare between the general phenomena among students, yeah, who, for example, do not have, who do not have sufficient effort in their learning. And you could also argue that, for example, if someone wants, if someone has a very strong intention and also eagerness and also efforts in doing things, so they they could possibly be successful in their learning, because of their efforts, because of their diligent efforts, in their learning, something like that. So bring the values that could be the example to be learned in from this novel. and of course you have to find out a few more good example, yeah. So then I think that's why you focus on this character, so to display the more comprehensive analysis of the character, yeah, the stories, yeah, behind the stories. Right? So not if we focus on more or main characters, yeah, it could be too many. So now you focus on only one characters in order to really highlight, to dig up a good values from that characters. In this case is Miss Granger. Ya, jadi saya kira demikian ya. So in your introduction, you have to once again to real highlight, because it is not common if someone want to analyze novel, so they usually bring all issue in the novel because they want to take the big picture of what happened in that novel. So there are lots of values or also misunderstood or mistaken values, yeah, by others, yeah, who do not pay attention to the good values that they can learn from novel, for example, like that. Novel can be very powerful in steering the the values that happen among the readers, yeah. So because this, for example, the novel is about the youngsters, so I think that's also very good opportunity to highlight the good values. So then the young generation or students can learn from, if they read this novel. Now, so then if you highlight that values, so then we can let you go only to have or to emphasize in order to be more focused on displaying the comprehensive values from one character, from one person here in this novel. Yeah. Okay. Reset question. What is the characterization described in that photo? And then the second, what can student learn from? Now, I don't see the difference between what do you mean by number one? Are you asking about the Hermione Granger personalities or what?
Yes, sir. It's about her characteristic, which is including the good and the bad. And the second is what's only can student learn, which is should be the good only.
Yeah, meaning that actually this is the same question, because in order to answer number one, you have to picture both sides of her. And then in order to answer number two, you can only retake again. Yeah, you can take the one side only. I mean, actually question number one and two is just the same. Ya coba kalau misalkan I mean to answer number one, so you have to list, for example, the characters of Granger, Miss Granger. Yeah. So you list her characters. Now, in order to answer number two, you don't need to do anything else. Only from the question one, you can, I mean, from the answer of question one, you can only take from the answer from that data. I mean, so actually this is just the same thing. Can you give me one example?
Is it a new question?
From the data? No, from the data. About the characterization, because I want to help you to generate the second question.
Her characteristics.
Mm-hmm.
She is academically gifted. It's come from the first novel. She is the one who success in her class, so that's as the proof that she is already smart at the beginning.
So in order to understand that, someone has to read the first novel then?
It's do not have, but I mean, I can provide on the, it's relate actually, but I provide that as the theoretical framework, sir.
I mean, something like that. You could have a question to what kind of information do you accept the characterization, accept the value? Because I think the characterization and the values, the personality of Miss Granger, I think this is one point. So this is what you want to reveal from the novel. Yeah, her characterization or her good values. Yeah. Now the other thing, for example, you could particularization. You could particularize her ability. So you want to what's that? To reveal you take out. Yeah, you want to take out some example or examples that showing some examples of let's say scene or events, yeah, happen in order to describe her ability or her ability or her values, yeah, in certain chunks, in certain episode of the novel. What do you think about that?
It's like I'm choosing the good values, sir.
Yeah, choosing it's not only choosing the good value, but more on to what's that? To reveal the context when that value appears in the novel. Okay, can you give me another example of her values that you think good? Yeah, as a good example for young generation, for example.
Yeah, I think it's on the third novel. I've read that she willingly to help her friends when learning. I think that's good because when helping our friend, it can help us to 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 understand the material better. So I think it's one example that her good value that
Okay,
can
so
we
let's
learn.
say being helpful, for example. So this one character, one values is being helpful. And now, in order to, let's say, you also want to, the other focus or the other question that you can ask from your research proposal is that also dig the information in what situation did in what situation do the values appear, for example, like that. Now, this question is to um, this question is to reveal the situation or the context where the value uh, appear. So we want to know the context. By knowing the context, yeah, you also possible to capture the more comprehensive situations, how one values is maintained by the owner, in this case is by Granger. Yeah. By knowing the situation, we also know the level of values. Yeah, it is whether it is serious or not too serious. So was that we can see the complexities of the values happen in the real situation. In this case, in of course in the novel, something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, sir. So it's like when and what kind of situation, right, sir?
So so that's what I said. That's what I call particularization. So, um, but in this question, you can say what situation? Yeah? What situation do the character, the good values, something like that. Yeah, just temporary
Right.
question. Yeah, you can fix up later. Yeah, I hope that you understand what I mean. So the question, the second question could read like this. Yeah, what situation do the good value appear in the novel? Something like that. So this question is really we ask that question in order to capture the situation, the context of the values appear in the novel, in order that the reader, or in this case, for example, the student, could take the could understand, yeah, the situation, why this happened, right? How and why certain values happen, and also uh, the reader could understand the level of values, yeah, the level of seriousness of the value that happen. If someone want to learn, I mean, if someone's diligence, and we want to know in what situation is the diligence ability, I mean, characters happens, and we want also to know the seriousness of the diligence itself. So by knowing the what's that, the situation, the context where the value happen. All right, so now go on. Terminology, characterization, novel. Oh, I think you need to put the Granger, yeah, because that's become the focus. So one of the character, for example, in Harry Potter of this title. All right. Now, theoretical framework. Here, I think you have to start from literature and education. Yeah, you have to argue. Yeah, for the first one, you can just it's kind of introduction. But I think because I mean, the focus of your analysis or your project is actually to encourage the reader to take the good values or to learn from novel. Yeah, that's the general conclusion of this project. So that's why you have to start from education and literature. So from the written literature, something like that. So people learn not only from the real context, life, yeah, but also we can learn some values from novels, something like whether it is fiction or other kinds of novel. Now, from there, you can highlight that a novel is very potential for education. Now, so next will be the novel is that, and then you could continue with this one, that's novel, yeah. You are talking about novel. What's novel basically all about? The characteristic of novel, yeah. So what novel may have, yeah, inside. And then the last part, you have to talk about the books that you are going to analyze. Yeah. Like the background or Granger's character. I think you cannot talk this all of a sudden without talking about Harry Potter. So you can talk about Harry Potter because Harry Potter has many series, and you can focus on. So what book is this? Is this the second book?
The third, sir.
Because I'm not reading novel Harry Potter. I mean, is it the second one or the third one?
It's the third, sir.
The third one. So now, so I think you have to explain first here that Harry Potter's has six, for example, I don't know, six series, for example, and this is the third one, and you have to, I mean, you have to put a little bit information about the first, second, till the sixth. Yeah, particularly focus on how the values, yeah, among these series, yeah, happen. Yeah. And then you could also introduce the character, the character or the figure that Harry Potter has. Yeah. The main character. Ya, pemain utamanya lah begitu ya. Ada berapa
Yeah.
orang. So
The
that's
main,
from every Harry Potter series. Now, so then in that section, you focus on you introduce that you want to focus on the Granger's character. Now, before you have this number 5, the background of Hermione Granger's. Because we want to know, I mean, do not mention this all of a sudden without any more comprehensive background information about Harry Potter. Because I think Harry Potter has, I mean, in those series, they have the very basic values, yeah, that had by every single every single series. So we have to introduce that before this one. and this is Granger, Hermione Granger is your focus. So that's why you have to to tell more about this ya. Jadi harus di agak panjang sedikit lah ya menjelaskannya karena ini
In
menjadi
depth, sir.
ya menjadi fokus Anda. Ya. Berbagai inspirasi, berbagai mungkin you could also, for example, bring up a few examples ya from other series, not from this series ya. Misalkan from series 1 and series 2 that very outstanding values ya, yang dimiliki oleh Granger kayak gitu. Oke, aduh sangat ini waktu udah bagus. Metodologi, oke, saya kira research subject, data source, technique of data collection, reading novel, technique of data collection, reading, understanding, content. Okay, finding out. Ya, basically is fine ya. Seperti ini. Saya kira seperti biasa ini harus diperbaiki ya. Kalau memang belum, ini covernya. Ini adalah sinopsis. Okay, now before continue to Clemencia session, I want to conclude yeah, Tarisa presentation. I think the data collection is okay, data analysis also, yeah, not bad, yeah. So you can continue with this writing. From the appendices is the descriptions. It's not the descriptions, it's more on the, you could have, yeah, two kinds, yeah. The first one is the description of novel, yeah. If you want to describe the series of Harry Potter, so you can have you can have the short description about this novel. But what a must that you have to do in your proposal is the synopsis. Yeah. It's kind of this synopsis of the series that you want to analyze. Yeah. Apa sih? The Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, ya itu jadi harus ada sinopsis dari seri yang ini, ya itu boleh dimasukkan di your what's that, your appendix, ya. Oke, saya kira itu Tarisa, ya good luck for your revision. I think that's a good thing to do. Because we want to, once again, we want to study, we want to teach the generation, the one who like to watch a particular Harry Potter, so they can learn something, not only enjoy the novel, but also learn a few good things from the novel. Saya kira itu ya. So now we continue to the second.
Excuse me, sir. I would like to ask something.
Yeah, silakan.
So, as you mentioned in the theoretical framework, so before the novel, I need to mention like education and literature. So, it's like two parts. I mean, the first one is about education, what is education, and then the use of literature in education, or it's in one part, like we merge two.
No, only one part. It's actually about literature, actually. So the discussion, I mean, the subheading is actually you talk about literature, but it's more on the education because we are from Hakim, we are from education faculty, so we are not from arts faculty. So the purpose of our reading is more on to not only I mean, not the focus. Our focus is not to look at the beautiful language, yeah, and also the story inside, but more on we we lead this into education. So we want to use the language for educating people, something like that. So the section is more on that. So because actually your research, your project, your title is actually in that direction. Yeah, you analyze the novel is not only to capture the language, yeah, the beautiful language, yeah, this sastranya, bahasanya gitu. No, we more on directing the reader to capture the values inside the novel. So that's why I think we have to discuss that, not in long parts, but at least it's kind of introduction to put the directions become proper, yes, to our main focus of analysis. Something like that. Yeah. Gimana?
All right, sir. So it's the use of literature in teaching.
Yeah,
That's
it's kind of that.
right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're welcome. So good luck for your revision.